and Human Services, we published research in 2018 that stated American children spend an estimated 7 hours a day on electronic media. Growing up, we didn't have this type of technology. Often the coolest form of technology was when our parents got a BlackBerry slider. Now, when you look around, we see kids with iPhones, iPads, and some sort of tablet in front of them. This virtual babysitter seems to be taking over America's youth. But does this harm them? Technology, too much access to screens and technology could be harmful to children. First, we'll discuss the psychological harm. Secondly, the social effects. And lastly, how should a child's screen time be regulated? First, we will look at the psychological harm. Dr. Eric Sigman, an associate fellow of the British Psychological Society, stated in an article in Psychology Today in 2017 that we could unintentionally, permanently be damaging a young child's developing brain. If they are not allowed enough stimuli from the real world, their cognitive growth could be permanently stunted. Young children's critical time of brain development and learning happens at very young ages, and now that they have this access to technology, they're losing some of that real world stimuli. For example, a child that is being read a story from a tablet with words and pictures may seem like an educational way to teach them reading or to show them new images. But really, when a child is read a story from its mother, it has to form the storyline in its mind, form images itself, and process the words. The tablet is essentially doing the thinking for them. Another big issue with screen time for children is they are often just handed the parent's phone to distract them. But this also means they have unlimited access to what is on that phone. Young minds and young children can so easily access something that is inappropriate or not meant for them to see. And that could affect them for the rest of their life psychologically, especially on apps like Netflix, when you're just trying to find a fun kids show and happen upon something that parents would not want their child to be watching. Now that we've discussed the psychological harm, next we can look at the social effects. Growing up, young children learn their basic social cues and how to empathize at the very young ages in preschool and at like ages 3 to 5. But if they're spending that time in technology, they're not learning how to get a feel for situations or other people's feelings. Not learning this can be permanently dulled. Their ability to empathize could be permanently dulled if they do not develop this soon enough by interacting with friends and teachers. Also, whenever they are on a tablet, whatever they tap or touch often responds with bright colors and sounds. This releases dopamine in the brain, which gives the child pleasure. And if there's not enough human interaction, they could prefer this technological interaction over human interaction because it gives them instant gratification. Now that we've looked at both the psychological and social effects, next we can look at how much a child should be regulated. Most parents do not have any background on how to regulate the child's technology because that's not how they grew up. They have no previous knowledge or reference back to their own parents because it didn't exist. Dr. Nick Westers, a clinical psychologist for children's health and assistant professor at UT Southwestern, stated in a Children's Health article in 2018 that technological hygiene is what needs to be taught to children. No screen time should be established to let children separate the real world from the technological world. They should also keep phones and technology out of bedroom, especially for young children, so they can have better sleep and it's easier for parents to monitor what the children are watching and doing. Another thing that doctors advise is that children should have their technological time balanced with other activities so that they still get the exercise and they learn that there are other ways to have fun. Children are advised to only have 1 hour a day of screen time, which is significantly less from the average. Today we have looked at the psychological harm, the social effects, and how much a child should be regulated for their screen time. This technology can be harmful to children. And next time you're babysitting and there's a whiny child and you just want to give them the tablet so that you can go do something else, think how you could be harming this next generation and how it might be more beneficial just to play a game. 1, 2, 3.